hello to myself and everybody else. So far, for this video, we're looking at another game from back in the day and kind of a remake of it that I made as well for this, but I'll get into that later. But with this game right here, this one's called Top Hat Hero, and this was basically the original, like this was the game we made for the tournament and everything that I was talking about in one of my other videos. Basically, back in when I was in high school and everything, the teacher who was teaching the class that introduced me to Game Maker, basically with this, he ended up telling us about a tournament for like Skills USA that was like somewhere, I can't remember the exact place, but like somewhere else. And basically with that, we ended up like, we found out about it like 6 months late. So basically we had like half the time to really make something. And basically I had to just come up with the, mechanics, what the game was going to be, everything and stuff like that. So working through this, I originally wanted this game to kind of look like Asteroids, like the old Atari game where you're the ship flying around shooting meteors and everything. I wanted it to be like that, but I had no idea. Again, I was very limited in what I knew what to do. I had no idea how to make a ship like rotate or to like control how certain things worked and everything. So basically I just messed around and I ended up just like accidentally getting a object to go up and down when you're like holding space. And from there I just decided to work with what I had. So from there, that's how this game ended up working out. Again, this game looks really similar to another game. Basically, when you see it, I'll basically explain everything. The reason why I don't have the game open right now is because for me, I basically have like a certain microphone where my headphones are plugged up into it. And yeah, I didn't, so far for y'all watching, it's probably perfectly fine. I lowered the music and everything, and I messed with the settings in OBS. For me, this crap is loud, and I cannot do a thing about it without basically turning my mic down and then having to yell. So yeah, it's just, I gotta suffer through this. But so far I'll go and open the game up, and it has a little story and stuff to it. Okay, so for me this sounds like stupidly loud. So the whole thing and stuff with this is that like with this game and everything, we made it for the tournament and everything like that, and basically as you saw, like I really can't do anything about this and stuff so far. Let me do this real quick. Well, I don't think I can really do anything about it, but bump it. Basically the main thing is this. So far, with it coming down to it, this story I didn't make. It was made by one of the people on my team who kind of joined at the last second. And all the art, besides like the art and the story, okay, basically the dude who made the story made the art and stuff in this, except for the backgrounds and the enemy objects, all that was made by another person who was originally on the team. Again, I don't know if they want me to say their name, so I'll just leave it out and stuff. I'll just call them like P and C. But so far P was the one who made the story, made the images and stuff for the story, and C, he made the background and the enemy objects and everything like that. So basically I'll go ahead and like start the game, show it off a little bit and everything. So far just something I want you to pay attention to is this title, how it looks and everything like that. Same thing with the difficulty settings and stuff like that too. Easy and insane, I'll go to easy. So far, looking at the controls, again, space, up and down, enter, laser, basically hold space to go up, let go to go down. Important, collect fuel to keep flying. This green thing here, again, pay attention how the green thing looks, because I'll get back to that later. The items, so far there's a force field power up, a triple laser power up, and an infinite laser power up. So far, the force field makes invincible for 10 seconds. Triple laser lets you shoot 3 lasers for 20 seconds. Infinite laser, hold enter for infinite laser. Enemies, if you are hit, basically if you get hit by a meteor, -5. Cluster, -5. Comet, -20. Moon, -40. And then here's the game. Base hold space to go up, let go to go down. Basically, again, around this time, and I did not mean to really make the game like this, I was just very limited in what I could do. This game looks really similar to Flappy Bird, if anybody remembers that game. And so far with that, it's like I genuinely didn't really mean for that to be the case, but just ended up like that. Basically, as you can see with this too, the fuel at the top is slowly going down. Distance so far keeps going up every second. Meters destroyed 0. So far before there was like 2 settings, easy and insane. That's why this like looks really easy and everything. Plus I gotta like really reinforce it right here. This was the original one from Game Maker, so like many years ago. This is not what, like when I remade the game, it's nothing like this now. Because so far with this, when I tried playing it, like the laser goes up for some reason. That's the moon coming towards me. You can destroy it with the force field, you're straight up invincible. As well as the force field destroys fuel, so there's nothing you can do about it if you have it for too long. Triple laser. Yeah, things are just weird with this. Yeah, but okay, so I'll undo this. Just go ahead and close it out real quick. Okay, I can finally hear myself talk. God. But yeah, so far, again, how that looked, that was the OG one that I made back in like 11th grade. It's been many years since then. And again, this was a game I had to transport from the original Game Maker to Game Maker 2. And then Game Maker 2 got bought and they changed the logo back to Game Maker and basically had to import your projects again. It was a whole thing. But basically with that, that's why this game really didn't work too well here, because this is the original export. I had to go back in, edit this and everything. I would have played the one that would have worked, but I can't get the original Game Maker to work unless I go back to my old computer, and I couldn't bring it over here and stuff. So basically with that, just to look at it and everything like that too, because that's why there was like a bit of flaws in it where like the story part of it wouldn't show up. And the music was like ear blastingly loud again, just for me. The shots wouldn't work and everything. And on easy, it was kind of like, let me go back in. Regrettably, I have to hear this thing being loud again, so I can go to insane just to see if that actually works the way it was supposed to. Let me see. Hit space to skip all this. Insane, skip. If only I could destroy the moon. If the lasers weren't going up. Get hit, see how much fuel take, and you just die. That's it. Yeah, but with this you can see like just more meteors actually show. Well, actually, wait, no, not. Okay, so the meteors do show up. It's still like really slow in this. But that's the main thing. Just the blue meteors you can't destroy. You have to avoid. This giant one's the moon, everything like that. You have to avoid all of this. Let me get out of here. Again, still stupidly loud for me, but yeah, that was the whole thing with that. So far, worked on that game and everything, and we turned it in for the tournament and everything like that. Because so far, I should probably show the actual working one, but for now, so far, I'm going to show just the one I just showed right now. The one like with the 2 difficulties, the weird looking like title and stuff, the green fuel and all that. So far, again, imagine it actually worked. That was the one we made for the tournament and everything, in which making this actually was pretty difficult because Originally there was someone originally on the team. It was me, C, and then someone else we're going to call J. They were on the team. But J, once they entered the team, they just kind of decided they weren't going to. They just kind of thought the project was stupid. The day they said yes, they were like, yeah, I don't want to be a part of this. So they didn't really tell anybody. They just kind of avoided us. So when we were like, hey, we're meeting up to work on this in school because we're still in school and stuff. So far, he would be like, okay, I'll be there. He just wouldn't show up. If I messaged him about it, he just wouldn't respond until I would message about something else. It was a whole thing. Basically, our team needed a minimum, I think, of 3 or something like that. Or actually, no. The teacher already put in who was going to be there. So we kind of really couldn't switch stuff out. Because since he said yes, his name was already registered. So he couldn't really back out unless we all just got disqualified. So he basically didn't care about this. And he was like, he wasn't going. Because we basically had to get a teacher to kind of corner him to ask him what's going on. And he was like, I'm not doing this. So that really sucked because we could have had, there was a bunch of other people who wanted to join. But because Jay took forever to tell us, or granted, we had to corner him to get him to tell us what was going on. The other people already had other stuff going on, so they couldn't join the team. So we basically had to get P on the team, and with him, that led to a bunch of other problems in regards to what, like, he made the story. Like I said, he made the story, but he was supposed to work on the concept art for the game. He didn't do that whatsoever. He didn't even touch the concept art until the last second. It looked awful. If I had pictures of that, because this was back in the day, I didn't think to document it or anything. If I had those pictures, I'd put them up on here because they looked so bad. They were terrible, man. He made that junk at the very last second. And then P would also try to take over everyone else's job. So with C, he was doing all the art, because basically it was just me and him. I was doing the programming and C was doing all the art. The background that was in the game, he straight up drew that multiple times because for some reason it kept coming in blurry. So he redrew that like multiple times. Again, C was awesome. It absolutely was. And with that, P came into the team and he tried to take over C's job. He tried to take over my job as the programmer. The only reason he couldn't was because he also had no idea how to program. So with that, he just basically looked at the programming. I had no idea what I was doing either, but I was like basically putting this together with duct tape and thread. So he took one look at this and was like, you know what, I'll let you keep doing this, because he had no idea what to do, so he couldn't take over my job. Then P tried to yell at C to be like, you didn't do anything during the project. He was like, you didn't do anything, I did everything. And straight up, I was like, C drew everything before you were here. P, you didn't do your job at all. It was like a whole thing, man. It was crazy. But yeah, so far it was a whole thing and stuff like that too. When we got to the tournament, yeah, and I'm sorry this is going on for a bit, but again, I really don't want this music blaring in my ear because I had no settings on this. But so far again, with this, we're at the tournament. There were supposed to be 3 teams there. Our team, yeah, me, P, and C. There was another team there, this dude and girl and stuff like that too. And there was supposed to be a 3rd team. They didn't show up. Because their class basically because the Skills USA tournament, that was a thing for school where it wasn't just one thing, it was for a lot of stuff. It was straight up for, I'm trying to think what it was for. Basically, it was for almost any kind of skill a school would teach. So there was stuff for electricianing, beauticianing, basically doing hair, doing makeup, hooking up wires, driving tractors and machinery, building computers, building robots. I think sports is just anything possible. They had a tournament or something for as well. And it was insane, which one made me look at my school and went, our school had nothing. I was like, my school didn't have nothing. But the whole point is, the third team that didn't show up, their school basically booked a hotel, and they basically were there for most of the time. But the last day, when the video game tournament started, their school had to leave, so that school just kind of had to just like, just take the loss and just go, well, we can't stay here, so they just had to go with their school. And with that, so they basically got disqualified by default, making it so first and second place was there. Because I have no idea if third place got a medal at all, but so far just first and second were the places and stuff there. Now, with that, the other team, basically the game we made was this, Top Hat Hero and everything. And the game the other team made was a game called, I think, Gravitas. I think it was like Latin or something, or Greek or whatever for gravity. But basically, they made that game. It was basically like a game oddly similar to ours, where it was a blob. You hit space to go up or down. And it was basically constantly moving forward, and the whole goal was to get collectibles and to get to the door at the end. And with that, the other team, not gonna lie, they were kind of cocky and stuff a bit, because the dude who was programming it, he was one of those people that was like, oh, real programmers don't use drag and drop. Even if you're learning, they're like, oh, if you're learning, just code. It's easy. Which is something I do not agree with. Drag and drop, again, is a good way to learn, especially if you're like me and you have to kind of teach yourself or just work with videos. There's nothing wrong with using that, especially with me being in college, and every teacher I have has the same attitude of, there's no point in teaching you, just use the internet. Yeah, I really don't like people who have that kind of mindset of just, don't use the simple way, just do it this way. I really don't like that. But basically, he had the mindset of that. And the girl, that was his girlfriend, because that was like the first way they started off introducing themselves, where they're both dating or whatever. And basically like, oh yeah, we're a couple who made a game for our school and stuff like that. Just whole thing of that. But I ain't gonna lie, their setup, they completely sweeped us under the rug badly, because their setup was like this. Basically, our setup was this. We're at a table. It was my laptop, some computer speakers, and that horrible concept art, which, oh my god, if I had a picture of that stuff. If only I had a picture of it. If only. That stuff was so bad. So far, we just had that. And we also had our game on a tablet as well, because we kind of did that the night before, because again, as you saw, the game does look like a mobile kind of game, so it could absolutely work like that. But yeah, so the whole thing was this. That was our setup. The other team that was there, their setup was, they had a big speaker there that apparently I think they built in school, which already I'm like, y'all built a speaker in school? Okay, cause our school would never, ever, our school would block stuff on the computer that the teachers needed. They would block the software the teachers needed to grade work, and then never fix it. Our school was horrible. The fact that the other school, they built speakers, the computer they were using, they built that tower and I think the monitor at school. They used a 3D printer they had at their school. That crap blew my mind. Again, when I'm releasing this is 2025. It was not 2025 when I was in high school. So the fact that they had a 3D printer in school blew my mind. So they used that to print off a design of their character. They had a big poster board kind of folded halfway through. I don't know what it's called. It's not a diorama, but a big poster board, let's just say. With printed pictures of their character, of the enemies and stuff on there. It looked good. That made our setup, it 100% made our setup look like trash. It was pathetic what we had set up. It was so bad. And with that, things only kind of got worse from there. Now, basically to jump to some positives, when we ended up doing, well, not doing, basically when people kind of came in and like looked at our stuff, because we were like in a weird room in a corner or something like that. Basically, they got some people to come in, try our game, stuff like that too and all. And people who came in, they played our game again, the one you just saw, the one with easy and insane, everything like that. They played it, everybody jumped straight to insane, and they just played it, have some fun, things like that. They played the other people's game, and this is something that still puts a smile on my face. The dude that was like, oh, drag and drop isn't real coding, programming is, he was bragging about how in his game, there's no way to get stuck on the tutorial. There's no way to get stuck. It's impossible. You can't get stuck and stuff like that. Yeah, people got stuck on the tutorial because they put the door like too far away from the wall at the very end. Because again, the blob was constantly moving forward. You couldn't control it except moving up and down, and that's it. So with that, people would go past the door and get stuck. And dude was like, I don't get it. People were getting stuck and everything on the tutorial. And I'm like, inside I was smiling at that because I'm like, yeah, again, really hilarious. Now, the other thing that happened was people who played both games, people straight up said ours was more fun to play than theirs. But that didn't like factor into anything because there was like judges that would judge the game and everything like that. So basically with that, the judges came in. It was basically, I think it was 3 judges. 2 of them basically got grabbed from the hallway because they had no idea this was going on. So it was just like 2 random other judges for something else. They just grabbed them. 1 judge who basically was like the head one just leading the other 2, just to kind of tell them what to say, and that was it. And basically he looked at our game and it was ridiculous. All the odds in the world were stacked against us. Because, 1, when the dude looked at our game, he said, oh, a guy in a top hat in space. That's very unrealistic. And I'm like, yeah. It's not supposed to be realistic. Like, I didn't say all that. I was like, yeah, it's not really supposed to be realistic and, you know, stuff like that. It's just, again, like, it basically, that's really is like not supposed to be realistic at all. But he only said that about our game. The other people's game where I'm like, it's a blob going up, and it literally was a blob. Like, I'm not insulting it. It literally was a blob that would just move forward and you just controlled it going up and down by hitting the space bar, and that was it. And I was like, how come he said ours was unrealistic, but he didn't say that about theirs? So that's why in my mind, anytime something happens in a game, I'm like, that's very unrealistic. I'm like, yeah, it's not supposed to be realistic. And then 2, the other thing that was mostly stacked against us, besides the 2 other judges basically going off of everything this one dude said, the main thing against us was the fact that the head judge was the teacher who taught how to use, like, how to program video games and everything to our opponents. So, to our opponents, their teacher was the head judge. So who do you think won? Like, that was something where anybody hears that, they're like, wait, so there was 2 teams, yours and the other team, and the other team's teacher was the one judging the teams. It's like, yep. It's like, yeah, but they're like, of course you lost. Like, what teacher would be like, okay, I'll pick this other team from this other school? It's like, yeah, so they obviously won. Granted, I don't blame them because their concept art and setup look better than ours. And it's kind of a thing where, again, looking at the game, as I said before, what we had, and I'll pull it back up again. Just got to prepare my ears again for this. Again, stuff doesn't look like, again, it looks basic. It really does look basic. But it doesn't look too bad. Like I said, again, the instructions, the smoke effects and all that, the background, the characters, again, very basic, simplistic stuff and everything. Doesn't look too bad. It's just the fact that the other team, they kind of use like 3D kind of graphics. Like they use, I think, Unity or Unreal or something like that for theirs. We use Game Maker, so ours is 2D. Theirs like 3D. Except theirs are still like in a 2D style. So I really don't know like the whole thing with that. But so I can hear myself talk. Basically the whole thing was this. So with that and everything, they won. But it's still, but again, I still had fun like in the tournament and everything. Plus we got a second place medal, in which I have no idea if we would have got that if, you know, the third team was there. I have no idea. But we got a medal. I still treasure that. And that whole experience, what made me want to make video games in the first place. So again, just with that, it just kind of reinforced the fact that I wanted to make video games and everything like that too. Yeah, I went on a long tangent because basically that was the whole backstory of this game, where it's like working on this, the people, like just the whole experience of making this one game. That was the whole thing and everything behind this. Just a lot of stuff behind it. Just, you know, the team, the tournament or competition, whatever you want to call it. And just how long it took to make, because we had like half the time. So I think we had like when in reality, I think were supposed to have like 9 months to make it. I think we only had like 3. So we had to make this jump like really quick. We either had 3 or 4 months. I can't remember, but we had way less time than we were supposed to. So we had to rush and make this. Then we had to change everything at the last second. Because again, the fact that there's an easy and insane mode, that wasn't a thing. It was just one mode. It would start easy and then get hard. But basically, I had to change that at the last second because the teacher made a suggestion. It was like, add a difficulty. And I was like, really? So like, I think 2 days before, I had to just like completely overhaul this, change how this looked, because I had no idea how to make like a spawner. I was manually making every object spawn, which seems insane. Hopefully it does not crash the game. So far, I had to make these timelines and everything. So normal timeline. Normal timeline. Let me open this up. Each one of these moments is a frame. So let me put it like this. The original Game Maker, I think, was 30 FPS. So this might be 1 second is 30 frames. I'm pretty sure that's the case. I don't remember. So basically, let's say 30 is 1 second. So that means I had to control every second of this game when stuff would spawn. All of this. So I had to go through every single one of these. Just being like, okay, so like 3 seconds in, create this object. And I had to do that multiple times. Each time with this, normal timeline 3, normal timeline 4, and then eventually I had to just make it repeat and everything like that. So it just took some time. I had no idea what I was doing. I only knew how to use timelines, objects, and sprites, and rooms. That was it. And having to change all that stuff at the last second, it took a while. But again, I still had fun doing it, and it was a whole thing to that. Yeah, so right now, again, I went into a long tangent and stuff like that too and everything. I'll definitely make sure in editing I just put like a time marker to say just like jump to here, so you can just like skip all the story and rambling and stuff. But so far after this, time and stuff passed. So I think back in 2019 or 2020, I can't remember, whenever like lockdown hit and stuff too for COVID. During that time, I graduated college, or technical college, and basically I basically convinced my parents to let me have like a year off from college, even though I didn't want to go to college. I took a year off, and I used that time to improve on just like art, music, programming. Turned out really wasn't that good at this stuff. So then I decided to just focus on programming and art and music, just make that when I make a stage. And so I decided to remake Top Hat Hero, which I'll go ahead and go over there now. Okay. Like, again, it looks like nothing really changed here, but I went over the top. You can see it's something different. But basically, here's the thing with that. So basically over that time I went through, redid everything I could, where, because since it was updated, a lot of functions and stuff like that for programming no longer existed. So like in the timeline you saw like action, motion, do that, like that's not a thing anymore. So I basically had to go through, reprogram every object, and I just had to like learn how to do that. So basically first I worked on another game where I did a mix of drag and drop and a little bit of coding. This game right here, Top Hat Hero, I used this to basically enhance coding more, to learn more of it, where I was like, I know what this object does, so let me just slowly put code in, see if it crashes the game. If it doesn't, I did it right. If it does, I messed something up. And that was really the whole thing with that. So this game entirely is just a way for me to get better at programming, and it helped me out a lot remaking this. So I'll go ahead and start the game up, and hopefully you can see the difference of it off the bat, because I think I changed that first problem. I did not. Yep, so far with this, I at least fixed some stuff, because in the beginning you could actually see the story, the picture was in the way. And two, let me go ahead and point this out because this is the best thing, I added options, achievements, and high score. In the options, I added a sound control. I can turn down the music so this isn't ear-piercingly loud for me anymore. I'm so glad I learned what I was doing with this. So with this and everything, it took a while for me to be able to do anything with this, but I basically went back through, fixed a lot of stuff. As you saw again with the story, I fixed the picture locations so they weren't covering up the story. The title, I fixed this so it legit like matches the game a bit better. Top Hat Hero. Put top hats and everything, change the font, everything like that. Put a top hat on start and everything like that. I think I can stop that. I added achievements. Basically again, go set distance and everything, have fuel, destroy set amount of meteors, defeat space chicken and clown, defeat evil top hat. Again, I added a lot of stuff to this. I added bosses, I added achievements, I added again a sound control, which I'm so glad I did. I also added a high score leaderboard. Everything for this. Again, something I wanted to do in the first one, but had no idea how to. Had to look up a video, learn a bit more coding, and I got this to work out way better. So I'm absolutely glad I did this. Again, little things like this too that help with just like really small things to make the game a bit better. Yeah, the music kind of looping, I didn't really figure out how to do that, but the whole thing with this is when it comes down to the title of the game here, Top Hat Hero, the font and all that, as you saw in the other one, it was like that weird green font. That was something that P ended up doing when again his job was not to work on art. Well, his job was to work on concept art, but not art in the game. We already had a title like this, but we had to change it because P joined the team and he wanted it to be the title look like that, where basically he just went to like logo maker and just typed in Top Hat Hero, put in a green font. It didn't look that good, so it was a whole thing and stuff with that. Just, I have no idea, but we had to do that. Start screen, we had to make that and everything too. Just that green font, it did not look good. I didn't like it. I just had to deal with that and everything. I definitely decided to change this on the remake version of the game. This remake one, this is the game that's out, that I put out on Itch and Game Jolt. I don't have a Steam thing yet, so I eventually should make that, but Itch and Game Jolt put it on here and everything like that, so there's that. So far, I click start. You can see this and everything as well. Space, go up and down, enter, laser, alt or escape, pause. I added a pause feature to this game. Wasn't there before, added it. Important, click fuel to keep flying. I changed this fuel icon from that weird green looking thing that looked bad to something that just straight up looks like a gas container. Because again, P, he just started changing stuff and we had to put it in for some reason, so we really didn't get to say no, so we had to put it in. And the thing I mentioned about the other fuel was like a green plutonium looking thing that looked bad, so everyone who played this would avoid it, and I knew that would happen. I told them, if you put this in the game looking like this, people will avoid it. They will not know this is something you need to collect. He said there's instructions, people read the instructions. And from the people I tested this game on, they did not read the instructions at all. I told them they would not read those instructions whatsoever. They didn't. People who played the game immediately hit skip. They never read the instructions and they had no idea what was going on. Again, hopefully this time I can show off the force field, triple laser, and infinite laser. The meteors and everything, or the enemies, they look the same fuel takeaway. And here's the game. As you can see with this, there's way more meteors and way more like stuff going on with this as well. The lasers actually work. The fuel still explodes if you shoot it. Basically, I added a, wow, this thing, wait, a wave timeline. Yeah, again, this game actually works. The other iteration, again, this is another thing I had to import from Game Maker 2 to the remake of Game Maker. Originally when I had it, the game works. It's just, again, when I import it again, stuff changes and it gets really weird with it. I have no idea why, but basically I'll see if I can go back in and just like get it to go this time. Yeah, because again, I don't, like, basically I don't plan on, like, let me skip past this, go to options immediately, and let's turn these down too, why not? Yeah, again, just with it coming down to it, as I said before, when I originally uploaded this, I tested it a bunch, it worked fine. It's the fact that I had to export it again to another updated iteration of Game Maker, it's messing up a bit. So that might be a little bit of the problem. So basically, again, we just kind of see how things and stuff work here and all that. So far, thing shooting the gas does, and also like blow up the rocks and everything. Infinite laser. So far, if you just hold down enter, you can just infinitely shoot lasers. Little timer to show like how long you got and stuff in yellow. The force field, invincible. Triple laser, shoot just kind of like a little bit of a bigger field and everything like that. If you get the power up again, then you can just like, you know, expand the timer and everything stuff as well. But yeah, again, like basically this is just a remake of the other game. So far, the achievement thing I put up there and everything and stuff as well. Yeah, so far, again, just the whole thing with this was just a remake of the other game that, again, I just like wanted to do this as a project just to learn programming and everything like that. Yeah, so for the sound effects, again, like in editing, the junk will not sound as loud, but to me, they sound really loud on my headphones. Yeah, again, like so far the meteor transitions to other meteors and different kind of waves and everything like that too. That's a whole other thing I did as well. So just a bunch of stuff like this too and all, where just like, again, more achievements. So far 100, good start. Yeah, the moon, that's another thing. Also the music in here, it gets like lower when you're like close to dying or when you're dying. So I just put my name again. Yeah, I don't know what's up with it. It's like a meteor transition thing for this, but again, the one I have uploaded, that one should be working perfectly fine, because this was a problem I had with the game I'm working on now, Buy Some Milk, because one of the exports I did, there was something with the controller, where with the controller, it worked perfectly fine on like when I released Story 3. I exported that, worked perfectly fine, but when I went into Game Maker and went to the same level, you would just keep moving to like the left with the controller. Yeah, it turned out Game Maker basically updated some stuff, so the functions didn't work the exact same. So it's like little things like that. With this, most likely something got updated, so on this iteration, it's not really working as it's supposed to. But the one I have out, that one's working perfectly fine. So that's kind of the main thing when it comes down to that. So yeah, again, it's not really a good look and everything and stuff too. I know, just like showing this off and it's like, oh yeah, it's out and everything. But again, it's free and all that, and just a thing for me to just like improve and get better and just get used to putting games and stuff out as well. So, but again, I still just am emphasizing this as well, mostly for my own pride. It does, the export of the game does work. Actually, speaking of that, why didn't I play the exported version of this? Huh, yeah, actually, the more I think about it, I could have just played the exported version of this and it probably would have been fine, huh? But, yeah, either way. So far, the whole thing is this, like, yeah, I just decided to go into Game Maker and bring it out. In total, I could have got the exported one because I don't have it on this flash drive. I have it on a hard drive, and I have to unplug and do a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But still, just the whole thing is this. Basically, with this and everything, again, I did a lot of improvements, added in a leaderboard, added a bunch of different, like, transitions between meteors and stuff like that, different bosses and various things like that. Again, a lot of stuff I changed and did for that and everything as well, but yeah, again, with my pride again, I really do want to get the exported version of this just to show that it does work, because it's kind of driving me crazy with it just like not working and everything, because it's not a good look for me, for one, as well as two, I just really might go get it. Yeah, I'm gonna go get it. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. So far, this is the exported version of the game. So far, the other one I was playing, again, just to repeat, again, for my own sanity, that one is the one I had to export from Game Maker Studio 2 into this new one. This is a 5-year-old game and stuff that I made. So within those 5 years, Game Maker definitely changed some stuff. It doesn't work the exact same, so that's why it's crashing. So basically I have to go through and fix some stuff. But the one currently on the screen right now, this is the exported version of this game, the one that is currently out on GameJolt and Itch. This one works because it was made in the one from 5 years ago, so it definitely works and stuff for that. But again, I'm going to just show this again and just actually show that it works. Again, just like I said, I have different like meteor, different like layouts and stuff too and all that and everything. Yeah, just how not good I'm doing. Just again, didn't crash. So far, I'm gonna let this roll and stuff for here for a second, because the meteors and stuff are still going, and it's gonna keep going through the different amount of like stuff and all that, just the different waves of meteors. I'm gonna show that this does not crash while I'm just saying all this and everything too. So the whole thing is this. Again, still sound like I'm making an excuse, but I'm being 100% serious on this, because again, I know I'm the only one watching this, but still. Like, the one I had open in the new Game Maker, the one that's working now, that is the one that I programmed in Game Maker Studio 2. And what just put up is the boss, the sun. But yeah, the whole thing and stuff with that too is that, like, you know what, let me just go ahead and hit this. But yeah, so the whole thing and stuff with it is this. In Game Maker and everything like that, they usually change a bunch of stuff, and because of that, sometimes some of my old stuff I do just doesn't work when I open it back up. It's annoying, but yeah, once I export a game, however that one works, that export will still be that same way. So this is still programmed like it was programmed in Game Maker Studio 2, and it will still actually work. It won't crash like the other one. So that's basically the whole thing with that. I just needed to show that off. I'm going to just like try it again and stuff like that too, just for other things, just to have it keep going and actually show it off this time. But yeah, this was the whole game and stuff right here, where it was just like flying and everything and stuff like that, just getting gas, getting power-ups, just seeing how far you can go. This definitely basically looked like it would have been like a mobile game or something like that. Which, again, we technically did have a mobile version of this on like the teacher's tablet and stuff like that too. But again, I don't have that, so yeah, with that and everything, just this was just how the game itself was, though, the one we entered in the tournament. But with this, I just basically like updated it and everything for this too, so it can have more features. Like, it shows the meters destroyed, the distance, the fuel, has many different like meteor layouts and stuff like that. I wanted to put a thing so it could keep track of how many meteors were destroyed as like a leaderboard thing, but I had no idea how to make 2 leaderboards. So that's kind of the whole thing with that, where it was just like I just had to try and just see what I could do. And I keep destroying the gas. But yeah, like I said, this is basically the whole game and stuff here and all that. Like, again, this is nothing where I was trying to be like, oh, this is going to be the game that, like, makes me famous or something, or the one that's going to, like, you know, be really huge and everything and stuff. Like, I was doing nothing like that and stuff like that, too. It was just something where I was like, why not? This is a game that will just, like, help me learn how to program, help me learn how to, like, export a game and all that and stuff as well. Yeah, just various stuff like that too. Helps me like export a game, help me learn how to get stuff out and everything. And this is really just how it just went and stuff like that too and all. So again, showing this, as I said before, this export, it works, it's not crashing. Still saying it for my own sanity, because again, this was definitely a thing where it was not a good look with it crashing every few seconds and stuff because of that. But yeah, that was the whole thing. Just like, it's because of just the new iteration and stuff. The export that I put up and everything that's out to the public, that one works. Yeah, we're just out and just works and everything, stuff like that too. But yeah, really, that was the whole thing there. Plus the whole thing, the music and stuff gets lower and everything with this as well. Oh yeah, I forgot about this too. The music and stuff. The music in the stage, that music was made by C. Yeah, that music was made by C, and the title screen one was made by me. So that's really the whole thing with that. I just really wanted to show this off and everything because of just how unprofessional the other one looked. So yeah, it was just a me thing on there. But beyond that though, just look at the achievements real quick, just how far it went. 162. Go to menu, achievements, again, go 100 distance, defeat the sun. Just a bunch of achievements like that too, man. Pop up in the corner when you can and stuff like that. But yeah, so far this is the whole thing with just these 2 games. This video is really long. I will definitely have to edit some stuff and definitely just put like a thing about me rambling about just like the past of this game. But granted, that's the whole point of these videos, for me to just go back, look at my old work and see what I did. And again, within the span of 5 years, because I started making Bison Milk directly after this, and I've been updating it since, so that one I can at least guarantee it works when I play the Game Maker like programming version rather than the exported version, because I updated some stuff, so I'm going to play that iteration. But things like that, that's really all I want to say about this game. So again, to myself and everybody else, see you in the next one.